It's a lesson too late for the learning, made of sand, made of sand. In the wink of an eye my soul is turning, in your hand, in your hand. Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? Well, I could have loved you better, didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind.
Jack Holzman was just 19 when he decided to drop out of university. It wasn't inspiring him. He had a passion for music and audio technology. So, in 1950, he and a friend put up just $300 each, and Elektra Records was born.
Are you going away with no word of farewell? Will there be not a trace left behind? Well, I could have loved you better, didn't mean to be unkind. You know that was the last thing on my mind.
Jack loved ethnic and folk music, and based out of a small upstairs office in Greenwich Village, Elektra fostered and rode the New York folk boom of the 50s and 60s. Over time, they earned a reputation for technical excellence and open and honest dealings with their artists. Holzman's pockets weren't deep enough to sign Dylan, and he lost out on signing Joan Baez. But within a decade, he'd built up an impressive roster that included Tom Paxton, Gene Redpath and Judy Collins.
So early, early in the spring, I shipped on board to serve my king. I left my dearest dear behind. She oft times swore her heart was mine.
When the folk boom started to wane in the early 60s, Elektra had done well enough to open an office in LA in the hope of tapping into the emerging West Coast scene. Initially it bore him little fruit. So, always the practical businessman, Holzman turned his attention to another idea he'd been hatching: sound effects. With a pen and pad in hand, he watched television at nights for 2 weeks and jotted down every sound effect he heard, from door buzzers to heartbeats to buildings being demolished. Elektra used its recording expertise to create the first commercially available library of high-fidelity stereo sound effects. Artwork was kept to a minimum, and the resulting albums were simply and clearly laid out. With no song royalties or artists to pay, they were cheap to produce. Holzman sold them for $5 and made $1.40 on each disc. In time, Elektra sold nearly 1 million discs to radio stations, community theatre groups, and hi-fi enthusiasts. They were profitable and provided Elektra with much-needed financial stability in uncertain times.
I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more. Well, I wake up in the morning, fold my hands and pray for rain. I got a head full of ideas that are driving me insane. It's a shame the way she makes me scrub the floor. I ain't gonna work on Maggie's farm no more.
Jack was present at Newport when Dylan went electric in 1965 and immediately saw the writing on the wall. The folk boom was over. However, after a slow start, his West Coast venture was just about to pay off. Holzman was excited about a 4-piece rock group he'd seen at Whiskey A Go-Go in 1966. He courted them for 3 months before eventually signing them and backed them with Sunset Strip's first rock music billboard. Elektra was 16 years old when it finally landed its first #1 hit. Doors were the first American band to release 8 consecutive gold albums and eventually went on to sell over 100 million records worldwide. Almost single-handedly, they propelled Elektra into the major league of music labels. Oh, and one of those sound effects would eventually become a familiar cue on music stations across the globe.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown. Like a dog without a bone, and actor out on loan. Riders on the storm. There's a killer on the road. His brain is squirming like a toad. Take a long holiday. Let your children play. If you give this man a ride, sweet family will die. Killer on the road. Yeah.
Riders on the storm, riders on the storm. Into this house we're born, into this world we're thrown, like a dog with